So when cars approached the roadblock, they just on their own turned around and went back the way they had come?
Yes.
All right. And did one of those cars in particular stand out to you?
Yes, ma'am.
And what vehicle was that?
It was a later 2000s model Honda Odyssey van.
Why
Dark
did that
color.
vehicle stand out to you?
I had obtained information that the ex-wife drove a vehicle like that. I don't know if they were like formulating a new plan because suddenly they can't go the way they want to go. There's usually just seemed to be a hesitation. This one caught my attention a little bit more also because when it pulled up, I mean, it just automatically did a 3-point turn and headed on.
Oh my God. And I tried to drive up Trescott and I saw that it was blocked.
It was blocked at some point. I'm not sure what time it was
And I
blocked.
just thought, oh, there's maybe some trees down or something. Because sometimes
Oh, you're saying as you drove down which one of the side roads?
when I'm going to a friend's party tonight and it's a oh my God, what am I even talking about? I needed to buy, it's a stock the shelf engagement party, and so I went to buy bourbon.
Okay.
So I went to drive from my place up Trescott to get to ABC Liquor, and it was blocked, so I just turned around. I was on the phone at the time. I wasn't paying a lot of attention.
Right.
So I just turned around and drove up the other way. I just thought, oh, sometimes when I lived there were electrical things
Okay.
that would happen. I left my house around 12:15 because I thought I'll get the bourbon and then I'll get some gas for the car and I need super glue for one of the boys' toys, and I was trying to do all I can before meeting my two friends at 1.
Drive down, Trescott's blocked, you turn around, you go back around on Benton, and then you look
There's
to
a tree.
Right. Pardon?
I thought it was like a tree that fell down or something.
Right. So,
I didn't even think, like, that's the house. I saw a few houses blocked off, and I was driving up the street, and I saw, like, the tape, and I just thought, oh, maybe there's, like, an electrical outage or something. Like, I saw the street blocked. I was driving into town. I was running errands, I was meeting some friends for lunch, and I drove up Trescott because it's the shortcut. And so I drive up Trescott and I see the tape and I was like, I guess there was like an electrical outage because sometimes we'd have trees that would fall or whatever, and so I turned around and didn't think anything of it.
It appears you were traveling on Centerville Road. Is that a normal way that you would ingress and egress from your Aqua Ridge residence?
That sounds right.
All right, and when you left your residence, you said you were going to lunch. Did you go directly to lunch?
No, I stopped and made a purchase for a party that I was supposed to attend first.
And what was that purchase?
It was my first time purchasing bourbon. It was for not a bridal shower. It was for a bachelor. No, it was for a wedding party, but it was the bride and groom together, and they had asked for people to buy certain alcohol to help them.
Like a stock the bar party.
A stock the bar party. I forgot what it's called.
But I'm referring to your visit to the crime scene.
I did not visit the crime scene.
Okay. You did not pull up to the crime scene tape on Trescott Drive?
No. I was driving on Centerville Road, and sometimes I would take the shortcut through Trescott.
Yes, ma'am.
But when I was driving on Centerville Road, I saw some sort of tape or obstruction, and so I didn't turn.
Okay. Okay. There's a message that says, "This is so sweet." Who is that
Objection, Your Honor.
message to?
Objection.
Hold on, what's the objection?
Hearsay, Your Honor. Item is in evidence.
That's sustained.
All right. Can you say who the message before the Best Buy message? Who did you send that message to?
It looks like I sent that message to my brother.
Your brother Charlie?
Yes.
All right. And that message was deleted as well?
I always delete my messages. But yes, it looks like I deleted it at some point.
All right. And that message, what were you referring to in that message, if you know?
I have no idea.
All right. But it was sweet, whatever it was.
I mean, 8 years ago, I have no idea what was sweet.
On the way to run your errands, did you go by the crime scene?
No.
On the way to run your errands, did you encounter a roadblock on Trescott?
I did.
All right, so you did turn off of Centerville onto Trescott.
I did.
All right, and when you encountered a roadblock, what did you assume the problem was there?
I figured it was just an electrical storm or something. There was some tape, and it looked like the road was blocked off. And so I just turned around and went back and went up Benton.
And had there been an electrical storm that morning?
I didn't remember an electrical storm, but in the summertime, there's always trees falling and rainstorms, so pretty normal.
Right, and you weren't concerned based on that experience that there could be something going on at previously your marital home?
Absolutely not.
And your ex-husband, Dan Markell, had your children at that time, right?
No, he did not.
Okay, so you had your children at that time?
No, my children were at preschool at that time.
Right, but who took them to preschool that day?
Danny would have taken them to preschool.
Okay. So it was his day. He was killed on his parenting day.
It was the day he would have brought them to preschool, and I would have picked them up.
All right. Did they spend the night with him the night before?
They did.
And you hadn't seen your children yet that day when you encountered the roadblock?
On Friday, no.
Okay. And at the time that you encountered the roadblock or shortly thereafter, did you call the daycare?
No.
Did you call Dan Markell?
No.
Did you do anything to reach out to any of the players that we've talked about in this case?
No.
Did you communicate to anyone that there was a roadblock?
I didn't. I would have had no reason to do that.
Does it make sense that you might have left your residence at about 12:30?
Sure.
Okay. And did you go to the crime scene or very near the crime scene on your way from your residence to, I guess, to lunch or to wherever you were going next?
No, I did not.
So you never turned on Trescott Drive that day?
I went to turn on Trescott Drive, but I saw that it had been blocked off by some tape, and so I just kept driving on Centerville.
Okay, and when you had to turn around at the tape, right, to go back out?
I think I tried to turn right, and it couldn't turn, so I would have made like the kind of turn, like a K-turn thing.
Was there a roadblock there with?
There was tape.
Yeah, and an officer was there?
I didn't see an officer, but I did see a car.
A law enforcement marked vehicle? Okay, did you have any contact with the officer?
No.
Okay. Did you do anything after that to try to find out what was going on down that roadway?
No, I just assumed it was weather, or maybe a tree fell.
Had there been bad weather that day?
No, but it was summertime, and there's electrical storms and trees fall, so that would have been pretty normal for summertime.
Wendy, when asked, were you involved in any way in the plot to kill your ex-husband? Is that why you went to the crime scene on the day of the homicide? You
said no. The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Honestly, I think the case got dumbed down to she's showing up at the scene of the crime. You're telling me she didn't know. If she knew, then they're involved. If she wasn't showing up, okay, I could believe it maybe, but her showing up is the icing on the cake. And that's why they opened with it, and that's why they closed with it, and they even gave their simple explanation, which is she couldn't help herself. And look, 99 out of 100 times, if, in a case like that, I guess it would make the most sense, except that's not what happened. But I think the jury could grasp a hold of, between that and the TV, they had two things that were coincidences that you really don't have explanations for. Yeah. And then she's showing up at the scene of the crime. She doesn't. I had somebody ask me that, like, a couple of years ago. It's like, did that really happen? Like, I said, trust me. Like, nobody did. Like, she showed up. They're like, man, that's like 1 in a million.
Yeah.
And I go, yep. So you mean to tell me 1 in a million you're right? The other 1 in a million you're innocent? Even if you say it's 1 in 10,000, now you're starting off the debate saying, listen, 1 in 10,000 times I'm right. All right, you want to bet I'm right on this one? You can't win it. You can't. Once somebody in their head says, if that's really her explanation, what are the fucking chances? That's near impossible for me to conceptualize. I guarantee you, if they poll jurors, that's going to be the thing that's stuck in their head, that they knew right then and there it was either a coincidence or it was a lie. And the coincidence has to be 1 in 10,000. And maybe they're sitting there saying it's one. I'm saying 1 in 10,000. Maybe these dudes are saying it's 1 in a million. You had to be a part of it. Showing up at the, they always say, like, it's an expression. It's like you showed up at the scene of the crime. Right. Like they always use it in like detective movies and like. Right. It's a lie. Like you're at the scene of you showed up at the scene of the crime, but you didn't know anything. Like
people start a fire and they show up to watch it. I mean, it's just been on TV forever.
Like who lived, 15 miles away, like pulling up at the scene 30 minutes later. Or even like being there while this actually happened.
Right.
Like sitting in the restaurant while this happened. Like it's one of those things where you go like, okay, like this guy's getting that this is happening. Manhattan's a big city. Okay, why the hell was this guy here? You could say, well, he was eating dinner the same night at the same restaurant. Okay, maybe. But like he was going someplace. He was going to a liquor store, past 4 liquor stores, took alternate routes, and ended up right there at that time. Like that's a good story. Like that sets the tone for everything else. Like that puts a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. Does. Sure. Yeah.
You should have just seen the crime. From your house to his house. Like, what did it say? Was it a 17-minute drive?
I think so. I think that's what they said. Yeah.
And then they put up slides to show what their stores were like 5 minutes from her house. She's driving 17 minutes. I mean, I get it. I still would go to CVS right by Newland.
Yeah, there's closer ones.
That's because you break it down and say, what are the chances of her turning down Prescott at 12:30, leaving her house, talking to her mom, talking to her bro, couldn't help herself. The only logical explanation. I mean, the shit with like, even if she wanted to go to that liquor store, there was a more direct route. The only way she went, that was what she always knew, and she's bad with direction. But it's like, you're this brilliant person, but you're so bad with direction. It's kind of like hard to understand to some people. You got this brilliant mind, but you can't find your way out of a paper bag. Like it does as well. You know what I'm saying? People that are that small have a sense of direction. You've all been in town for 8 years and you got electronic devices. So you're taking even the long route to go to that liquor store, passing 4 liquor stores that are closer. That's just what the fuck are you doing driving down Prescott at 12:30 by the age? I think that if somebody's showing up at the scene of the crime and they don't have a fucking real good reason why they're there to be backed out, I say that's super fishy.
Yeah, I understand.
Like, you showed up at the scene of the crime. Like, how else do you know, if that was the only thing, that would be one thing. But it's like, that's why the showing up at the scene of the crime and the fucking TV became like 2 things pounding in people's heads. That would really stick with me. Is that she showed up there randomly. That taints every other thing. And I think after that, every other thing has to be like a bulletproof answer. Not an excuse or not an explanation. Because listen, there's been people who showed up at the scene of the crime and have been convicted before, just for showing up.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Oh, yeah.
She's identified at the scene of the crime, showing up to watch the fire burn after it was lit.
Pretty much what it was.
It's not a 1 in 90. It's not a 1 in 100. It's not it's not even a 1 in 500 for showing up at that date. It's in the thousands.
Yeah.
And that I can't debate.
No. I know. Nope.
Not unless she goes, oh, I go there every week to go to that liquor store, and that's how I go. Like, when was the last time you went to that liquor store, Wendy? Probably when she was married.
Yeah. A long time ago.
I think so. It's only been 3-4 years, something like that, right? So one time in 3-4 years, on that time, on that date, 2,000. So, if they don't put it this way, it's dumbing down the case entirely. If they don't buy her explanation 100% on that, it really casts doubt on a lot of other things.
Well, that's what happens. They don't buy one thing, then they don't believe anything.
It's a big thing. So you got to understand. Now they have her at the scene of the crime. If she took because she had prior knowledge, you almost have to assume that I was guilty. The Miami bitch, she put down Tallahassee. She's better than everybody. She wrote it in her book. She was showing up at the crime scene. Like, those are 2 facts that you can't dispute. She wanted to leave, and she got to leave. She thought it was a little stop on the way to nowhere, on the way to civilization. Figured out what happened. She didn't show up on the 18th. And your mom and your brother both spoke to you that way. Like, that's what the case was about. Folks, use your common sense. She couldn't help herself. She showed up there. Even his best friend said that he said this. Like, she's getting eyewitness, or she's getting, people to come in and say I said things. Like, all fitting together. Get it all put together, folks. And she showed up at the crime scene.
Yeah.
She couldn't, and listen, if you told that to 100 people, with the explanation that it's delayed me 10 times since she's been on the phone, they would say, what is the fucking chance? 100% happened. Yeah, but what are the chances that it was random? Then that's when you go, if it wasn't random, then she's involved and they're involved. They made a point to show that your sister thought she was better and shit in a small town, and she showed up at the scene of the crime. I guess that right there is enough to convict you for showing up. For showing up is borderline unexplainable. There are explanations, whether you're talking about the route or the location. It doesn't hold water with wanting to go to a liquor store. But it only does if you realize the chick doesn't drink. The last time she went to a liquor store, she had to go to the party that night, and she was picking up the bottle on the way to lunch. She went the way she always does. She was talking on the phone. Like, that's what happened. But you just go, what's the probability of, like, her going to that liquor store at that time, that route, on the day he shot, and her turning down Trescott? Pick another street by an American or down on that date at the time. She had to be going to make sure, as Catherine said, she couldn't help herself. What do you think? Who do you think explanation sounds more logical? The excuse I just gave, or the ex-wife who couldn't help herself? So then you just go, oh, the only piece of the puzzle that doesn't fit is Wendy's showing up there that day. You know, it's all the auxiliary stuff that they brought in, and I knew that I thought in my heart of hearts, like, you know, I knew the truth, but I'm like, I mean, when I talked to someone about a freak test, they had 1 in a million. I know, crazy, 1 in a million. It should have clicked that, like, Sonny, you're saying it's 1 in a million or 1 in 10,000. Everybody else is thinking the same fucking thing. Now to try to convince people that this is that one that doesn't look like what it is. And you're sitting in Tallahassee telling them that Wendy was going down Trescott because she was going to a liquor store. Like, that alone, like, if she had no invitation, if she had no invitation, that alone would have been like, that's too crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Driving down Prescott, the high power of the bullet. That's enough to get you convicted right there. Showing up at the scene of the crime. One-on-one.
Like they do on TV.
Criminal. I mean, it had to be me. Had to be. That would kind of be like me driving 10 miles out of my way, stopping off at the Publix in that shopping center, and my phone pinging off that same tower, and then me going home, and then they say, I was never in that area, and they're like, oh shit, I was in that same parking lot on that same time, on that same date. Like, that would be pretty suspicious. You know, I'd be like, well, how many Publixes did you pass or route? Like, what the hell were you doing there at the same time this is going on? That's, something was happening.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, I wasn't Publix at the same time. And that would have been like unreal. Like, but that's where coincidences happen. I could have watched the full one. But that's TV. You don't think they're going to do that in a courtroom.
No, you don't.
You know? What is it? And listen, I get it. I've done it with you for an hour or two. Like, folks, what are the chances? I said that at the beginning. I said, what are the fucking chances that this happens like this? And the answer is, that's crazy. Yeah, because if that's what happened, that's crazy is an appropriate answer. But it's like, you say that's crazy once, you say that's crazy twice, pretty soon you're doing it saying that's crazy. Or could she just not help herself? I mean, nine times, I say 9 out of 100 showing up for a reason.
No.
taking a shortcut, a long cut from 10 miles away to pass by and see what's going on.